Kia ora, everybody, and welcome to Aotearoa. Today, our guest is Barry Down, my favorite wizard in Aotearoa and one of my favorite on the planet, and an incredible wisdom keeper of Western astrology. And we were going to just meet up for a chat, but it felt important to make the most of Barry's wisdom and introduce him to you along the way. So our topic for today is post-eclipse astrological insights from Aotearoa. And let me hand you over to Barry, who was born and bred in the UK, but definitely tangata whenua now. He is home in Aotearoa. And with his wisdom keepers over his shoulder there behind him, I will hand you over to Barry and let him introduce a bit more of himself before we dive in.
Okay, hello everybody. Barry here. My background is born in England, but from Hungarian descent. My parents were Hungarian refugees after the Second World War. So I born in England and sort of a citizen of the world. So my background is I came to study astrology from an esoteric perspective back in when I was in my early 20s and studied Kabbalah, the Hebrew Kabbalah and the Tree of Life, and probably based initially upon the Golden Dawn tradition of sort of esoteric Western magic. But this led eventually into a study of a Kabbalah in English, which our group that I worked with discovered back in 1976. And from this discovery, it was a great sort of illumination of the esoteric astrology. And it's very relevant for now, the age of Aquarius. Astrology is the basis of all religions. Primitive man looked up at the stars and noticed that there was a correlation between the phases of the moon and the women folk. The women folk noticed that their bodies responded to the different phases of the moon. And so thus astrology was born by the observation of the natural world. And then over the millennia, it built up into this very sophisticated observation of our spiritual being and our connection with the universe. So I think that'll be enough. Do you really? Yeah.
Thank you, Barry. And it's exciting to share this journey with you. Just listening to you speak and feeling you speak, I love the way my body knows astrology far beyond what my conscious mind knows.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking very forward to getting comfy on the couch and letting you lead the way on this journey. And really fascinating, I feel, about this particular Eclipse Passage and Personal Planetary Reset is that our main religions on our earth all had very significant ceremonial, sacred days and holy days leading up to this eclipse passage, whether we're talking Galungun and Kunungan, which was followed directly with Nyepi in Indonesia with the Hindu religion there. Shortly after was Diwali. We had Ramadan, the whole month of fasting and family time and gathering for Islam. And of course, then we're coming through the Easter passage and Lent and everything. And into this, through this final total solar eclipse, which triangulated across the Americas, feels as though it's opened a doorway into a blank canvas where we have the opportunity to rewrite or birth a new story for humanity and our planet. And the feeling is there's a lot of astrological alignments that are going to support this rebirthing process. And we're going to hand that over to you. And discover more about that today.
Thank you, Leanne. Yeah, it is absolutely fascinating, and like you say, all the you are talking about all the different religions recognizing this time. If I'd like to go a little bit into the astrology of this Easter period, Ramadan, and all the others, the Christian Church seized upon Easter as a significant celebration. And as we know, Easter moves every year, a few weeks one way or the other. And this is to coincide with the full moon, the first full moon after Lent. And as we know, the Ramadan starts at the new moon. And so we have this intimate connection with the moon's passage. And so why? Well, at Easter, and I'll use the Christian symbolism, it would fit everywhere else. At the crucifixion, the death, the time in the tomb, and the resurrection of and what that aligns with is Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Capricorn. These are 4 significant signs. In astrology, the ego consciousness comes into being in Aries, and then has its journey through life until it reaches halfway. It starts to enter the Libra phase, which is the beginning of the enlightenment process of the ego consciousness. And so what we have is Libra, the judgment, the balance, and it's symbolized by Jesus on the cross. Jesus, the man, not the God, the man, which represents the ego consciousness sacrificed on the cross of matter. So as we all go through our journey with of life, with its trials and tribulations, that's what we suffer. We suffer life in the broadest sense of the word. And so we arrive at Libra. And that's a time when the moon enters Libra and there is assessment of where we've come from, what our life is. It's like an audit, if you like, a balance. And in the Egyptian mythology, it's your heart balanced against the feather of truth in the judgment hall of Osiris. And so what that means is, have we lived an authentic life? Have we followed a path true to our spirit? There's no grace or guilt in this judgment. It's rather like an audit. This is where you are. And this corresponds with Libra, the balance, the potential. Then the moon moves into the sign of death and transformation, which is Scorpio, and where the physical body dies, i.e. the death on the cross. And it's where the ego consciousness gives up and falls away. And the purpose of the Scorpio period is to release the spirit that's been embodied in an ego conscious journey. And so this is why we get in the natural world, Scorpios are very succinct in picking out our vulnerabilities. Well, our vulnerabilities is simply the idea that we've had our security of who we were. So the moon going into this Libra Scorpio phase, it corresponds to judgment and death, but it's also an unpredictable time. In astrology, it's known as the Via Combusta, and every month the moon travels through this 2.5 days through the end, halfway through Libra and halfway through Scorpio, where nothing is predictable. There are the correspondences with the physical body that women will know about at this period. And anyway, the next stage, the moon moves into Sagittarius, which corresponds to the time in the tomb, where the spirit is being liberated in Scorpio and now comes to know the realm of God, the divine, and is in contact with, has freedom and comes to experience the divine, but in solitude and in quietness. And this is the time in the tomb. And then the moon moves into Capricorn, the most earthy of the signs, and it's where the spirit comes back to earth and is clothed in form, but this time it's initiated by the knowledge it's had with the divine. And so this is why at Christmas we have the myth of the rebirth of the Christ, is when the sun at that winter solstice enters into Capricorn and is reborn. And so we have these four signs: Libra, judgment, death, time in the tomb, and then rebirth as initiated consciousness. Well, this is why Easter falls this way, because this is what they want people to understand. We all go through this process. But what's happened this time in this year, all the planets have been in alignment, and there's been terrific conjunctions, one after the other. And immediately after Easter, we on Easter Tuesday, we had Venus conjunct Neptune in the compassionate sign of Pisces. So we have Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and attraction, comes together with the mystic Neptune. That energy of the contact with the ethereal realms, the heavens, the most outer of the planet, the mystic. So what does beauty, the goddess of beauty, what's the energy of that when she comes together with the mystic? Is sublime, ethereal beauty, exquisite beauty, that which is beyond the material. And this year, that conjunction happened immediately after Easter. Then the energy of Easter, the moon going through that initiatory passage. So what that represented was in the sign of Pisces, which is the compassionate sign, the love of humanity. And so what better symbol of Christ consciousness, universal love, unconditional love, sublime beauty. And one of the, by all means, Leanne.
And many people felt that.
Yes.
When we went through that second total solar eclipse and came out the next morning, it was like there was an prolonged still point.
Yes.
A prolonged pause in 0 point to just drop in a bit deeper, to slow down, to have that actual reset this time.
Yeah. Wasn't it a fabulous, that us sensitives would have felt this incredible calmness. Like you say, it was like a beautiful, calm energy that felt. Well, this, rather interestingly, that aspect, that Venus-Neptune, was like, oh my gosh, this corresponds with the resurrection in the Easter myth or any other of the religions that follow this sequence. And so, wow, that was so timely. This special, special conjunction. And then we were followed by the eclipse. And I asked myself, I said, well, yeah, look at nature. What actually happens in an eclipse? The divine feminine, represented by the moon, consumes the energy of the sun. The sun enters into the divine feminine. So I thought, yes, of course. And so for this time. And then the sun emerges like a rebirth, a reset, a new beginning. That first spark of light at the end, at the eclipse. So I thought, this is what we're actually observing, is a process of the divine feminine taking into her the light of the sun to perform a consummation, if you like, and in order to birth something anew.
Yeah, and very much what feels as though it has been birthed anew through this process is that masculine divinity, be that in men or women, but that masculine divinity has come into a greater depth of love.
Yes. And exactly, when you say love, of course, this reflects back to the Venus-Neptune conjunction. Of sublime love, sublime beauty, universal consciousness.
Yeah, and it's actually through that depth of love that empowers people to stand up and speak their truth.
Yes, yes.
On behalf of the planet and humanity.
Yeah. And we're seeing this played out this year, this incredible April, this actual whole process, because the very next day after the eclipse, Saturn and Mars came to a conjunction in the sign of Pisces. And we're saying, well, how does the god of war, ego consciousness, Mars, react through the energy of Pisces, the compassionate one, following on from the Venus conjunction earlier and the eclipse? The first expression after the eclipse was Mars Saturn. So Mars in Pisces we can think of as St. Michael, the champion, the protector, the champion for good, the warrior for good. So it's a very much a St. Michael energy. And then we say, well, coming together with Pisces, with Saturn, the crystallizer, the giver of form. Now, Saturn also is a feminine side planet. She gives form, just as a mother gives form to a child, to the seed. And so Saturn gives form. So in Pisces, so it's taking the creative dynamic of Mars, picking up on the energy of the eclipse, picking up the energy of Venus, and making it manifest, giving it concretion. So there we have this once again reinforcing a new beginning, a new consciousness coming into the world of sort of conscious awareness. It's a very positive sign. And what I noticed, in this, that the moon played a big part in each of these aspects. The moon formed a very favorable aspect, a trine and a sextile. These are favorable, positive aspects from the moon. So the moon energized and carried this light in her journey through the initiatory Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn phase into the Venus phase. She formed an aspect with that, picked that energy up. Then she carried it into the eclipse and consumed the energy and the vitality of the sun to give it, which was then the following day given form. The energy of Mars took up this, and the moon carried that energy. And now what we're into is following on there'll be an amazing conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus in New Zealand. It'll be the 21st, but I think other parts of the world it'll be the 20th. You've got this Jupiter conjunct Uranus in Taurus, in the earthy sign of Taurus, nature, they got once again ruled by Venus. So Uranus is change, something that's new, changing, letting go of the old paradigm. And if we look at the tarot cards of the Blasted Tower, and the Blasted Tower in the tarot card represents our construct, our ego consciousness. And the higher force, the lightning flash of the divine, hits the tower and completely opens it up. It collapses it in order for the divine spirit to come back to illuminate the consciousness. And so we've got this Uranian energy, this energy for change, letting go, breaking down the old paradigm, comes together with Jupiter in the earth sign of Taurus.
And it's quite exciting. It's like my my emergency room, ED in the ICU of metaphysical work has been very full during this period.
Yeah.
Because the energy is demanding change, where people are being brought into the courtroom of their own soul, basically, to say what is true to you and what is not.
Yes.
And whatever is not, please leave here on the burning grounds.
Yes.
Because there is no space to take it forward. The energy does not support it. So it's time for a life review.
Yes.
A reconciliation process now, not on the deathbed. And really clear out, do the housework, do the laundry, and clear out everything that is no longer true to the soul essence of the being, because that restoration of authenticity is a necessity that can no longer be denied.
I love it. I love it too, Leanne, because we see exactly what you say. We're seeing this played out in the astrology. There's no separation between we as human beings and the world and what's happening in the rest of the cosmos. We are intimately linked with it. We are children of the stars. So we are being carried and reflecting this as above, so below. Yeah. And it's just beautiful. And the Jupiter, the great benefic, the expander, is coming together with this new energy, this new Uranian energy, is saying, thank the Lord. This is one of the expressions of this energy, a release from tension, a release from that which is troubled us. It's an expansion of consciousness. In Taurus, the energy of the world, the natural world. So I interpret this is that this birthing, powerful alignment of planets, solar eclipse, a new beginning, this period right now that we're in is so powerful in birthing the new earth, the new world. And in astrology, people sometimes consider that it's going to happen a snap like that, but it's more like a wave that builds, and then like the surf breaks. And if we align ourselves with the surf, we'll be carried along with the wave. And it's like you were saying, is open ourselves to letting go and being in the moment and going with the flow and allowing this to happen. And there's never been a greater opportunity for thousands of years with this lineup and these series of conjunctions for an absolutely incredible opportunity to birth what we've all been, what everybody, astrologers and mystics and shaman around the world, like yourself, who have been working with nature and working with the cosmos, this is the time. This is it. Hold on to your horses, guys, because we're in it now. And I'll just hand over to you for a moment there, and I'll follow on with something, another astrological insight that coincides.
Well, it's interesting. It's almost like to pause and take a moment to honor the way showers, such as yourself, even the ones that came before me, you know. I've had many lifetimes within this one. And it was what, almost 20 years ago, I had my cosmic kick out of Africa, my conservation work, in a 20-year relationship to connect with my soul and discover what my soul path was about, and therefore go on to support others. And looking back in hindsight, it's like, you know, I thought I had patience then, but the patience that your generation hasn't had to have, you know, to walk through these different stages of our galactic calendar to get to this time, this turning over of time, this prophesized time that we all knew was coming, has arrived now.
Yes.
So a deep bow to you and your generation and those that have come before to really pave the way that made it possible for the next wave of us to dream bigger and
Yes.
dream beyond that which has been here before,
Yes.
in order to support again the next wave coming through. That, you know, I'm so inspired now with my work because I'm working with a lot of young entrepreneurs who know that they're here to change the world.
Yes.
They're completely dedicated, committed, and invested in their own embodiment and evolution and service to our planet and humanity.
Yeah.
So it is so inspiring to witness that and have it as an integrated part of my life, you know, through my weekly meetings, whether they're one-on-one groups. It's inspiring.
Yes, absolutely. And I love where you say in service. This is part of the new consciousness of as we realize in our mundane existence that we are all part of one. And and I think some of the old sayings, "Do unto others as you would unto yourself." Of course. Why would you beat yourself up? So eventually, as this consciousness dawns, this sublime consciousness that we are all interconnected and we are all one, at the end of the day, all we can do is serve one another and serve humanity and serve the planet. And I'll just say, I just part that up what we've said because it's quite a lot to sort of consider and meditate on. Yes.
This also, just while we're talking about service, this came up in conversation yesterday with a very dear sister I was out doing on a hikoi doing earthwork with on the West Coast at Wanganui Bluff. And speaking of service, it's very important that we are not serving in the triangle of disempowerment. And that's often the first place that we step into service. It's as a rescuer in the triangle of disempowerment, where there is a victim. A victim needs to be rescued, and of course there's a persecutor. So if we're in the role of rescuer, victim, or persecutor, we're not in our power. And we still need to do some personal excavation and some personal work to step out of the triangle of disempowerment and step into our next level of service. Serving as a rescuer from the triangle of disempowerment will often be the shadow of the martyr.
Yeah.
And will result in a lot of personal burnout and I'm here to save the world type dramas playing out. So really, if we're still in that triangle in any way or form, in our intimate relationships, our professional relationships, our family relationships, if we see ourselves as a victim, a persecutor, or a rescuer, and persecutor and rescuer will often change spaces in intimate relationships, we need to do our personal work so that we can step out.
Oh, absolutely. Because I would throw add onto that service as a celebration.
Yes.
It's a celebration of life and excitement
Yeah.
I think it was Sri Chinmoy, one of his sayings is, go through life with so much love in your heart, you would wish to do it no other way. And of
Well,
course, Bruce Lipton says the same thing in the honeymoon effect. Yeah.
exactly. And I look at this is our love tank. And
Yay.
my responsibility to make sure my love tank is full so that it can overflow into everyone and everything that I engage with. And if that love tank drops that much beneath full, pause. What does my system need? What does my body need? What do I need to top that up in order to be able to give from a place of love, from overflow?
Yeah. And this is never before in modern history or for thousands of years have we had a greater opportunity to find our authentic selves, find our true expression, and to be supported by the universe as we can see it by observing nature. And yeah, may I? Yeah. I get so excited about what's happening because these are really exciting times now. It
Yeah.
really is, the crunch time, if you like. Yeah.
It is exciting. What's happening here for those that are viewing this is like what you're witnessing and experiencing is occupational arousal.
Yeah.
And it produces oxytocin in the body. It does produce ecstasy in the field
Mm,
by the excitement of this creational energy that's now available to us.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And we've just people talk a lot about Pluto going into Aquarius and its entry into Aquarius. Well, at the beginning of our discussion here, I mentioned the Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn period as it's an initiatory period where we do come to embody our authentic selves. Well, Pluto represents the soul journey, and the soul journey not just of the individual, but for humanity and in general. And so Pluto has gone through those four signs and now is emerging into Aquarius. And so it's an initiation from the world. And Pluto going into Aquarius is humanity saying, who am I collectively? What is our identity? And the Aquarian thing, I'm okay, you're okay, is I recognize my own individuality within the community. And what's my role as an authentic human being in the collective? And in the past, over history, we've seen the 13th century and in the 17th century it was the break from Rome, where a new paradigm came into place, revolution. And the next time was the American Revolution and the Declaration of Independence. Revolution around the world, revolution in the sense that a new paradigm, a break from the old authority programs, and a new beginning. And this is what we are now entering into with Pluto going into Aquarius and bringing that energy. So we're in for quite an interesting ride over the next 22 years, coming along with these aspects that we've just been sharing and talking about. Incredible.
Incredible and exciting.
Indeed. Yeah. Yes. I think it's important that we do keep our vibration high. As Bruce Lipton says, the honeymoon effect. Go through life with so much love in your heart, you wish it no other way. But the time now is to contact that love, because that love is our relationship with the divine as we make manifest in our authentic selves.
Yeah, it feels important to for us, for humanity, to realize we are creators in an ocean of creation of infinite potential.
Yes.
And to take responsibility for what we are creating.
Yes.
Consciously and unconsciously, if we're the creators of our reality, we're creating it consciously or unconsciously. So really choosing what we're focusing our consciousness on is vital at this time on the planet, more than any other time, because we don't want to go back and fulfill family prophecy and looping in the cycles of death and destruction that has come previously. It's an opportunity now for us to really choose consciously what we want to create and to live the lives we wish to live here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And
It's
stepping out of the mainstream matrix, that consensual or momentum tunnel of consensual reality, where so much consciousness has been directed and programmed, particularly through mainstream media. You know, it's time to switch the TV off, turn the radio off, be conscious of what we're ingesting, and we're just not food and fluids. It's also media,
indeed.
propaganda, company. Where do we want to invest our consciousness in if we are creating the world for the next generations?
Indeed. Yeah. Absolutely, Leanne. The pressures around us, like you say, through the media and in through entertainment as well. As someone recently said, why is all the science fiction apocalyptic? Yeah. It's why is the news so negative? No, we must not. We recognize what's happening. However, we choose where we place our attention and our consciousness. And if we, like you say, if we recognize it, let that go. That is not our reality. We create our reality. We can create utopia on Earth, and we have the opportunity right now by conscious creativity. We can set the new timeline.
It is exciting. People kind of say, what do you do? And I say, well, my life's a bit of a combination between The Matrix, Avatar, and Indiana Jones. And I get to live that every day of my life. And it's really exciting when you talk about creating sci-fi, because really what's been unfolding through the planetary field in the last 6 months, we're actually busy taking notes. And Olga, who shares the field in our Guardians of Gaia, who meet every new and full moon, her role is actually to make a big screen movie out of our lives as a sci-fi movie, to really, as Avatar does, plant the seeds of consciousness of a new way of being in the world and a new way of interrelationship that is similar to a very old way of interrelationship and harmonic with our planet and all species.
Yeah. I think the ancients knew this, and it's people like yourself who are going around the world connecting up the grid, on sacred sites. The more we bring those into consciousness, we're linking up or with the energy all around the world and linking ourselves. Yeah. And as I say, the ancients knew this. This is the resurrection of the ancient knowledge and consciousness, and bringing it into this modern world out of the dark age. Yeah,
and that's actually another topic you mentioned very briefly at the beginning that was very present in our last Guardians of Gaia gathering, which was right the day before the eclipse. And that was, all of our major religions speak of a tree of life. And during that ceremony we did of creating a new creation story for the planet, as we resolved any distortions in our own birth process, what was birthed out of that was a new, old, ancient tree of creation for humanity that was no longer in a limited field, but was restored in an infinite field, the tree of life, the tree of creation, and that. And it was really quite extraordinary. So maybe you can speak into that for us.
Well, I think because as an esoteric astrologer, I look at this and say, well, what is going on? What is it? How is this speaking to me? How can I link myself, and how can humanity link themselves? Reconnect this away from this great schism that we have somehow believed that we're separate from the universe, separate from creation. If you, as an astrologer, you say, give me the date, time, and birth of a child, I have no knowledge of who that child is. So I draw a chart up and interpret the energies as presented in that chart of where the planets are, what sign they're in, and what aspects they make to each other. And then this is the personality and the life path of this newborn baby. I don't know the baby. I've discussed the conversation, if you like, of the gods, the planets, with each other. And it's that conversation that's been made manifest in every baby and every person on the planet. Everything is a birth of a conversation of the heavens. Yeah. And it's that realization, oh my gosh, this is the healing. If an astrologer can tell me what my personality and life path is just by looking at the planets, who am I? I am that, and you are, and everyone is a conversation of the cosmos and the gods on Olympus. And I think
Exactly.
the irony is the
I think
answer is before us. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's time that we stopped gossiping and
Yeah,
restored the conversation into this coherent connection between the earth and the cosmos.
indeed. Yeah. Yeah.
Because then magic is restored.
Magic. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. And the as I call the name which we've been given to this fact, this wave of astrological conversations of the gods is stellar magic, star magic. And star magic is now returning, that was known from the ancients. And we have this now. We have this method of reconnecting our knowledge and our consciousness in the physical world. Yeah.
And the time is now. It is. So, Barry, how best can people get hold of you if they would like an astrology reading?
If you can you put my email at the end of this through my email? I have a Facebook page. So that would be the best way, and I think probably send me an email. Yeah.
Okay, then. So what I will do is at the bottom of this, when I post on YouTube, I will make sure that your Facebook connection is there and your email address is there.
Yeah.
And also to let people know that Barry lives next to Mangere Maunga, which is my sacred mountain in Auckland. And the first one I greet when I land, and the first one I farewell, or the last one I farewell when I leave this land.
Yeah.
And, to the extent when I came in on my last landing, and I was tired from a big 9-month journey and a journey out in Peru and work across the Pacific Ring of Fire with Mu on the way in, and kind of crash landed in a crumple heap in the wee hours of the morning. And there I was. And next thing, they're starting to delay domestic flights. And I'm like, I can't do how many more hours in the airport or a bus ride up. Please put me on my plane. And then I suddenly realized I hadn't greeted the mountain.
Yes.
So I did. I said my prayers. And although I'd said my prayers to land into the land, I hadn't greeted the mountain. And literally within 5 minutes, they called our flight.
Honoring the earth.
Yeah.
Speak and you'll be heard. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Commune with nature. Yeah.
That
Lovely.
attitude of gratitude goes a long way.
Absolutely.
And I'm very grateful to be in this land, and also very grateful we could share this journey today and make it available for anyone else who feels resonant to share this
Thank
morning.
you, Leanne. Yeah, it's been an absolute delight as always, Leanne, and thank you for the opportunity to just share a few musings and meditations, and then people can take from it what they wish and follow it a bit further if they so do so. Yeah.
Always.
Bless you.
Thank you, Barry. And until we meet again. Kia ora.
Kia ora.